Well, I spoke earlier to Claire Newell via Zoom. She's a travel journalist and president of Travel Best Bets. And I began by asking her how she would characterize the current state of the travel industry.
There's no secret that the numbers speak for themselves as far as the travel industry as a whole is concerned. The whole industry actually hires about 1 in 10 people around the world. And the World Travel and Tourism Council has said that about 174 million jobs could be lost because of the pandemic. And the airlines alone this year in 2020 are set to lose about $119 billion. That's what IATA is saying. And so compared to last year, they made 26 billion. So it's really staggering. And it's not just the big companies like the big cruise lines and airlines. It's hitting every part of the industry, from mom and pop operators to the large corporations and everyone in between.
So then as you look ahead to 2021, how do you see the jobs picture developing?
Well, it's going to be a slow start. They keep pushing the date that they expect, for example, the airline industry to recover to pre-COVID. And the majority of them, they're saying, from IATA's perspective, 2024. So that's a long way off. And so the airline is kind of the spider web that gets everyone to where they want to go. So until that fully recovers, we won't see the likes of the small operators and the industry as a whole recovering.
So then, given that domino effect, as you mentioned, with having the airlines being like sort of that spider web that connected in, are there any parts of the industry that you expect to then bounce back in 2021?
Well, we are starting to see some recovery and some bookings start for some of the luxury as well as small operators, ones that are doing, say, outdoor adventures. There's a company in Canada that's very well known called G Adventures. It's one of the largest outdoor adventure companies in the world. And they do small groups. And we're starting to see people interested in that. It tends to draw a bit of a younger, more active crowd who wouldn't be as worried traveling with COVID. And I do think that some of the large hotel chains, the ones that are well known, may recover quicker than the smaller operators because people trust the name, the brand, and the health and safety protocol. But it doesn't matter what you're looking at as far as travel. If you kind of are looking ahead, there are some deals to be had. And some of the airfares are sitting at 30 to 40% less than they were last year. And it's not going to be a quick recovery on those prices. As people start to be vaccinated, you may start to see some people who are the kind of the early adopters travel soon. And then there'll be the people who, wait until those people come back and then decide that they want to book. And then there will be the people who won't travel until they're vaccinated. So it'll be slow and steady. It's not going to go quickly.
And so for the parts of the industry that you think will take the longest to recover, what should we be keeping an eye on?
Well, unfortunately, the cruise line was hit. It was hit very, very hard. And the majority of the ocean cruise ships are US-based companies. In fact, 95% of the ocean-going vessels are part of what's called the Cruise Line International Association. And they have essentially stopped sailing until the end of February, the end of March of 2021. And that could be creeping. They have to go through all sorts of hoops to be able to sail again, including having labs on the shore as well as on the actual vessels. And each ship has to be individually credited and given a certificate that they can actually sail. So that's going to be slow to recover. It's also going to be a public relations challenge because of what we saw in media in the early stages of the pandemic, where people were on cruise ships and they were, it was spreading. So it's tough. We are seeing, though, people who have cruised in the past start to book for later in 2021 because they, by that point, hope to be vaccinated and take advantage of some of the incredible deals. There's just amazing deals for those people who want to plan ahead, pay a small deposit. And the companies that are allowing you to do that are also giving you the flexibility if something should happen and you can't travel.
And that's certainly important for your holiday makers. I want to also look though at business travelers. How has that sector fared so far, and how do you expect it to fare in 2021?
Well, all of the reports seem to say that business travel will be one of the slowest to recover because of the fact that so many people are doing virtual meetings and virtual conferences. So you can imagine that the large hotels that are conference centers and business seats and first class seats on aircraft, they're going to be empty for a while until that recovers. People may not travel as much for business because they know how cost effective it is to be able to do the virtual style. It will recover, but to pre-COVID levels, but it will be slow. What that means for the average consumer, though, who wants to take holidays, is the fact that the business and first class seats, the premium economy seats, the hotels that are in the conference areas or in the centers of large cities will likely have more space and they'll be cheaper.
And as we mentioned, obviously, it's important to think of sort of the mentality of the consumer, what it really takes to make them feel safe enough to travel, to make them feel comfortable. Walk us through some of the opportunities or the bright spots that you're seeing that people have really used to innovate during this time.
Well, there's no question in my mind that there are going to have to be 4 things really that consumers are going to need to be able to take advantage of a deal. You're going to need to be attracted to the deal. And so we're seeing some incredibly unprecedented deals that are out there where the marketing that they're doing, offering, for economy seat, you get the whole row, things like that, or, pay for 2 nights, get 2 free. We're seeing tourism boards offer stays that they're supplementing. So that's interesting for people. So that will catch their attention. But you also need to have flexibility in the terms and conditions to make sure that should you not be able to travel, that you can get out of it and you're not left holding the bag. You're going to need to make sure that the health and safety protocols are in place. And you're going to have to be able to make sure that you have travel insurance that covers you for COVID-19 moving forward. And no question about travel moving forward, it's going to change.